The confirmed number of new coronavirus cases reported in Los Angeles County in the last 24 hours is 986, with 5 additional deaths. Here in Torrance, 13 additional cases were reported, with no new deaths. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Colin Kushner, filling in for Rhiannon Trutanich. It's Tuesday, September 28th. Starting Friday, October 1st, COVID-19 vaccination providers will be required by the state of California to request patients' emails and phone numbers. The California Department of Public Health issued the notice last Friday and said providers will request the personal information for the state's immunization registry. Now the individuals do not have to comply to get vaccinated. Public health officials say not providing an email or phone number may make it difficult to access a digital copy of their vaccination record, but they will still be given the paper copy documenting that they got the shot. Many places throughout the county, state, and country now require proof of vaccination. Those who are fully vaccinated can download their digital record by going to myvaccinerecord.cdph.ca.gov. Hospitals and nursing homes around the country are bracing themselves for more staff shortages as state deadlines arrive for healthcare workers to get vaccinated. The ultimatums take place this week in many states, including California, New York, and North Carolina. The general fear is that some employees would rather quit, get suspended, or even fired than get a COVID-19 vaccine. California Hospital Association spokesperson Jan Everson-Shea says they don't know how this is going to play out and are concerned about it worsening any already serious staffing problem. New York hospitals started firing or suspending healthcare workers on Monday for defying a state order to get vaccinated. This resulted in staff shortages, which led some hospitals to postpone elective surgeries or cut services altogether. The National Guard may also have to fill in for the loss of workers. And a North Carolina hospital system suspended 375 unvaccinated employees last week and gave them 5 days to comply. As of Monday, 175 of them were still out of compliance and were consequently fired. Pfizer and BioNTech are one step closer to getting its COVID-19 vaccine cleared for children ages 5 to 11. The companies submitted data to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration today, and the agency is expected to take at least several weeks to analyze the information provided. The data was collected in a trial that included more than 2,000 children. A formal submission to request emergency use authorization of the vaccine is expected to follow in the coming weeks. The nation's leading infectious disease expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says he hopes the FDA can give the green light by the end of October. Pfizer is testing a pill that could protect people from COVID-19 if a close contact gets the virus. Company officials are looking into the efficacy of the pill as used in combination with a low dose of the HIV drug known as ritonavir. The drug maker is studying the pill in those who are at least 18 years old and live in the same household as someone who has COVID-19. Company spokesperson Dr. Mikael Dolston says if successful, they believe this therapy could help stop the virus early before it has a chance to replicate extensively. Pfizer plans to enroll more than 2,600 people in a late-stage study. Participants will either get the treatment combination or a fake drug orally twice a day for 5 to 10 days. The company began an early-stage clinical trial of the new antiviral therapy for the coronavirus in March. The goal is to roll out by the end of the year. A new study is showing that children have put on excessive weight during the pandemic. A Kaiser Permanente study of nearly 200,000 children between the ages of 5 and 11 found an almost 9% increase into the categories of being overweight and obese. Researchers used health records of children from March 1st, 2019 to January 31st, 2021. They say the weight gain fell disproportionately on the youngest children. They gained an extra 5 pounds, while teens ages 16 and 17 gained an extra 2 pounds. Experts say the lack of physical activity and access to food while remote learning may have been contributing factors. The study results were published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. A former FDA commissioner believes up to 90% of U.S. residents will become somewhat immune to COVID-19 when the Delta variant wave passes. Dr. Scott Gottlieb says reaching that amount of coverage is important even if the country never gets rid of the coronavirus completely. He predicts by the time the highly transmittable Delta variant subsides, most Americans will have developed some form of immunity protection by being vaccinated, infected, or both. As a result, Dr. Gottlieb says the strain, which currently accounts for nearly all new U.S. infections, will no longer spread from person to person as effectively. He also expects infection rates to go down substantially around Thanksgiving as long as there isn't an unexpected new variant that comes into play. The former FDA commissioner now serves on the board of Pfizer. The U.S. had its largest one-year jump in homicides since the Federal Bureau of Investigation started keeping track. FBI records show a total of 21,570 homicide cases in 2020, a nearly 30% increase over the previous year. It is the highest estimated total since the early 1990s, when drug wars took place across the country and homicides surpassed 23,000 for years. As for other offenses in 2020, violent crimes went up by 5.6%. Property crimes continued a nearly 20-year decline, falling 7.8%. Robbery dropped 9.3%, and rape cases went down as well, falling 12%. A criminologist analyzing the data considers 2020 to be a unique situation and not part of any long-term trend. He says factors leading to the increase in overall homicide cases include the coronavirus, conflicts over politics and race, and people just having too much free time. If you didn't file a tax return last year, you may be missing out on the next round of stimulus checks. According to the Internal Revenue Service, Californians who may be eligible for a Golden State Stimulus 2 check, or GSS2, but didn't file their taxes in 2020 still have time to qualify for the program, as the deadline to file last year's tax return is October the 15th. Since the payment is based on that tax return, people who don't submit their files on time will not be considered for the payment even if they meet the qualifying threshold. Under GSS2, eligible Californians could get up to $600, while those who claimed at least one dependent on their 2020 tax return could get an additional $500. To qualify, residents must have earned less than $75,000 last year, have a Social Security number or individual taxpayer identification number, and can't be claimed as a dependent by another taxpayer. According to the California Franchise Tax Board, more than 2.5 million payments have been distributed to Californians through direct deposit. The first batch of mailed checks are expected to go out as early as October the 5th. California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill into law on Monday, allowing every registered voter in the state to receive a ballot mailed to them for future elections. This law was spurred from what was adopted during the pandemic for the 2020 election, when voting in person was a concern due to COVID-19 transmission. California joins other western states like Utah, Colorado, Washington, and Oregon in mailing all voters a ballot. Under the new law, ballots in California must go out at least 29 days before the election, and voters still have the option to drop off their ballot or vote in person. Governor Newsom also signed 10 other voting-related bills yesterday in an effort to expand voting rights and access. The Torrance City Council meets tonight to conduct city business. Among the agenda items is a resolution honoring Fire Captain James Strock upon his retirement from the city after 28 years of service. A couple of proclamations will be declared the week of October 3rd to the 9th as Fire Prevention Week and the month of October as PTA Membership Enrollment Month in the city. And City Council will review a recommendation to approve a contract services agreement with a Torrance dance company to provide youth dance classes and youth and adult exercise classes at the Cultural Arts Center. These items and much more will be discussed tonight and can be seen here on our channel, online, and on the city's Facebook and YouTube platforms. You can also find the full agenda at torranceca.gov. The meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share feel-good stories from our community, pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. South Bay Community Church recently launched an Afghan resettlement ministry in partnership with World Relief to help recently arrived families settle into their new lives here in the Los Angeles area. Over the past week, they gathered donations from beds to crayons to kitchen utensils to make sure the families have everything they need to thrive and feel welcome during this difficult time. They're also hosting an in-person training tomorrow with World Relief to equip those wanting to work with Afghan refugees. It takes place in Torrance tomorrow at 7 p.m. You could log on to this link, sbcc.live/ARM cultural training, to secure a spot. What an important way to show how Torrance cares. Now, if you have a great story, upcoming event, a photo or video you'd like to share, email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that's our update for COVID-19 today. We'll see you back here tomorrow as Christine Lee brings you the latest. Be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.